Hello, everybody, and welcome to the KC CHIROpulse podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants, helping chiropractors keep their pulse on success. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined today with Dr. Troy Fox. Dr. Fox, how are we doing?
I'm doing great, other than I'm looking at my computer screen, and it looks like it's looking down at me this morning. I'm not sure. I need a studio upgrade. That's what I need. I need a Joe Rogan studio upgrade for my podcast. I got the mic. Now I need it to look like super cool. So yeah, but no, I'm doing wonderful today. How you doing? We're getting closer to the holiday season.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's on top of us. I mean, we're in the middle of it.
Well, yeah, we're in the middle of the holiday season now, which kind of goes through about July 4th, and then we start over again.
Pretty much, it seems like.
Once Christmas is over, then we got to have like Valentine's.
I'm starting to see the Christmas movies already repeat in the season.
Yeah. I still have some recorded from last year. My wife was pretty excited about that.
Apparently you can watch The Elf every other night.
You can. And National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I mean,
oh, yeah.
It's always good to just randomly quote that anytime during the day during the Christmas season. Right. So yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, yeah. What's our topic for today?
Hey, so we had an email that came in last week, actually. And this was from Melissa, and Melissa's from your state that you practiced in, Missouri. And
awesome.
Melissa wanted to know, what is better? Is it better to have a cash practice, or is it better to have an insurance practice? And why? What are your thoughts on that right now in this time?
Yeah, Melissa, that's a great question. Yeah, so I'll give you my thoughts on this. I think depending on where you are in practice, if you're in the first couple of years of practice, it may be a good idea to be on some insurance panels. If you're past year two, I think you need to be more cash-based. And here's why. If I ask you, and any of you out there listening, if I ask you, is insurance reimbursement likely to go up or down? The answer is probably resoundingly down, number one. So, and you don't have any control over your insurance fees, particularly. You know, you can set your adjustment price at $75 if you want, but Blue Cross is only going to pay you what they're going to pay you, and the rest you're going to write off. So you don't really have control there, and you do on your cash fees. Even regardless of what patient payment tolerance is, you still have control over your fees. And in this era of economic inflation, our money, our income that we earn in the clinic, the value of it's going to go down. So if you got declining reimbursement and inflation forcing the value of your earnings down, and you don't have any control over that, that's a pretty slippery slope. And probably not very many of you out there remember the high inflationary times and trying to run a business. What was that? I'm going to date myself, but it was a while back. Okay. So it was back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When, we had interest rates in double digits and things. And, a lot of today's practitioners never practiced in an environment like that, and running a business. So let's take our chiropractic hat off for a minute. Running a business in high inflationary times, especially if you've put yourself in a position where you don't have control over your fees, it can be really, really tough. So I think you've got to really start swinging the tide of insurance versus cash and invert that model if you're high insurance and get more to cash. And it's not hard to do.
Let me interject here for a second.
Yeah.
You said the bad word. What do you mean run a business? I'm a chiropractor. I don't deal with any of that financial stuff. If I got money in the checking account, I'm good, right? We've talked about that before. Did you hear that, folks? You actually have to have a business mind. And if you don't, you can get one. Trust me. I was not probably the savvy entrepreneur when I got out of school in, way back when, gosh, this is going to date me too. December of 1996. I was ahead of the game because here's the funny thing. I had already joined CATS Consulting at the time. I was in the Quick Start program. So I had people that were helping advise me on the financial portion.
Yeah,
I had no
absolutely.
clue. And I'm just like going along. I'm like, okay, whatever, if you tell me I need to do, yep, go to your bank and do this, talk to these people, do whatever. So from a financial standpoint, we went through a small blip of not so much inflation, but kind of the crash of 2008 when that happened. And I will tell you that if you've been through one of these before, it will end eventually, but you will think the sky is falling for a little while because new patient numbers are going to drop, visits are going to drop. When people think the world's going to end, it's not just chiropractic that they quit using. It's everything that they quit using. They just kind of, we become paralyzed. And I think there's books on this that have been written, and there's a reason that like people don't even see catastrophes coming. Like, a meteor's coming right at them and they go, I doubt that's going to hit me. It'll hit the other guy over here. Right. And sometimes and then when it does hit and it impacts you, then you're just paralyzed or you're dead, one of the two. But when it comes to looking at the type of practice that you need to run, here's what I'm also going to throw in here. I run a completely cash practice. So I can throw this in there and I can tell you that if you think you have to run insurance, I can tell you right now that a good patient experience and me being attuned to what your patient, and I say your patient because if you think that they're an insurance type client, they have insurance, they have a Blue Cross Blue Shield. Your patient comes to me and says, hey, I need to get care. Do you accept insurance? And I go, actually, I don't, but my cash prices are very reasonable. In a lot of cases, they're either at or below what your copay is. You know what that patient says to me? Can you get me better? So they always want to know, how much does it cost?
Right.
Can you get me better? Right. And how long is it going to take? And then we talk about how long is it going to take after that. And then that person has been converted to a cash patient. So it's really not that hard to convert to cash. And guess what? I don't have insurance people. I don't have high overhead like insurance practices because I've run both. And it's so much more relaxed to run that cash practice. And that's one thing I like about it is it's low key and it allows me to run the practice of my dreams.
Yeah. And I think to become more cash based or all cash based, if that's your desire, you've got to get out of the insurance mindset. And the insurance mindset really can warp your thinking. And it's hard to see an all cash practice if you have insurance minded thinking. So, seek out some help with it. Find a good coach. We're happy to talk to you. Find a good coach to find out, what are the right steps to take. But if you're sitting there thinking, I can't even move my insurance patients over to maintenance care. I've got to continue to play that change the diagnosis game with insurance companies. You're putting yourself in a bad spot. So
dangerous.
Learn the tools to be able to talk to patients with value statements about why it's better, a lot of times better for them to move over to cash and get into more of that cash mindset. And like you said, Troy, it's a much more relaxed practice, but even better, it's oftentimes a more profitable practice, a more compliant practice. And man, can you sleep at night? And that's a good feeling.
Yeah. If you're playing the change the diagnosis game, go back and watch one of our earlier podcasts where we talked about that, because if you can't support that with your notes, you got a big problem. And that's a problem we run into is the chasing the insurance money game. Instead of, here's the thing. I know that you still needed to treat that patient. As a chiropractor, I get it. It's like, okay, I've treated them X number of visits. Now insurance is only going to allow me this much before either A, they're going to start questioning my diagnosis, or B, I'm going to have to change diagnoses. When in reality, we know that you needed to see the patient a few more visits. I get it. I get it. I know that you were doing what was best for the patient. The problem is we get caught doing what's best for the patient. In the insurance model, it's called fraud.
Yeah.
Because you're defrauding the insurance company because you're playing the old shell game where you go, okay, I'm just going to change the diagnosis. Now I get more visits.
Yeah.
That's not the way to go about it. And
it's not a dangerous game. Doing it correctly is so simple.
I don't have to play that game. Now it's like, Mr. Patient or Mrs. Patient, here's where you're at right now. Do you agree with me? Yes, I believe that we ought to do this. And they go, yes. And we go, okay. And we go on. And now there's no problem with that. I don't have to play the change the diagnosis game, and I can actually make accurate, well-documented notes that tell the story of the patient. So,
yep.
Those are benefits of a cash practice. And we weren't even going to talk about that today, were we? We were going to talk about, and it kind of comes down to that those are some of the major benefits of running a cash practice.
Yeah, so absolutely. So tune into one of our webinars for more on that. So, hey, if you want to get a hold of us, you can schedule a free breakthrough coaching session. You can jump on my schedule by going to the katzconsultants.com website. At the very top of the page on the right corner is schedule on demand. It'll take you right to my calendar, and jump on there. Let's talk about what's happening in your practice and how we might be able to help you. All right, Melissa from Missouri, thank you for sending in that question. It was a great question. Troy, thanks for bannering that topic around with me today. And everybody, I appreciate you listening in. So thanks for tuning into the KC CHIROpulse podcast, brought to you by Katz Consultants, helping you keep your pulse on success. Check us out at katzconsultants.com. And from all of us here at Katz Consultants, stay informed and well adjusted. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you.